Imagine discovering hidden chapters of history, books that were almost part of the Bible but never made it. Today, we delve into the secrets of these lost books, texts shrouded in mystery and controversy. What powerful stories and teachings were left behind? And why were they excluded from the Bible? We're talking about the 5 mysterious books that didn't make it into the Bible. The Book of Enoch. An ancient Jewish religious work is attributed to Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. It's a complex and multifaceted text divided into several sections, with the most notable being the Book of the Watchers. This part describes the fall of the Watchers, a group of angels who descended to earth and fathered the Nephilim by interbreeding with humans. The narrative delves into the reasons for the Great Flood, attributing it to the corruption brought about by these unnatural unions. The book explores the concepts of God's judgment and punishment, providing a distinct insight into the world before the Great Flood. In addition to its controversial themes, the Book of Enoch is rich in descriptions of heaven, detailing Enoch's journeys through the heavens and his revelations about the workings of the universe. The book's vivid stories, especially about fallen angels interacting with humans, were deemed too imaginative and diverged significantly from the established holy teachings. These narratives clashed with what the early church believed, particularly due to their focus on apocalyptic visions and prophecies. Such a contrast in themes and perspectives ultimately led to its exclusion from the Bible. The Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is unique among early Christian writings. It consists of 114 sayings believed to be Jesus' teachings, presented directly without the narrative context of his life, birth, death, or resurrection found in the canonical Gospels. This straightforward style, along with the mystical and esoteric nature of the sayings, which often echo but differ from those in the Synoptic Gospels, is a key reason why it was not included in the Bible. The Gospel of Thomas focuses solely on imparting the wisdom and teachings of Jesus. The content of the Gospel of Thomas also contributed to its exclusion. Many of its sayings reflect a Gnostic worldview, emphasizing personal spiritual knowledge, gnosis, over the orthodox teachings of the Church. This Gnostic perspective was viewed with suspicion and even hostility by the early Church Fathers. They saw it as a threat to the unified doctrine they were striving to establish, fearing it could lead to a fragmented and divided Christian community. The Gospel's depiction of Jesus as more of a spiritual guide than a historical figure differed significantly from the core stories of the Christian faith. This unconventional perspective led to the Gospel being viewed as controversial, and consequently, it was not included in the official collection of biblical texts. The Apocalypse of Peter presents a strikingly different view of the afterlife than what is found in the traditionally accepted biblical texts. It provides detailed and vivid portrayals of heaven and hell, greatly impacting early Christian beliefs about the end times and the afterlife. The text is known for its graphic depictions of the torments of hell, which are described in a much more explicit and detailed manner than in other early Christian writings. This portrayal of the afterlife was intended to serve as a moral lesson, emphasizing the rewards of righteousness and the punishments for sin. However, the extreme nature of these descriptions, particularly the punishments in hell, raised concerns among early church leaders. They feared that such graphic imagery could be misinterpreted or cause distress among the faithful. Another reason for not including the Apocalypse of Peter in the Bible was its apocalyptic theme. Despite the Book of Revelation, which shares a similar theme, being accepted into the Bible, the Apocalypse of Peter was left out. This decision was influenced by the growing need for a consistent theological narrative within the early Christian church. The Apocalypse of Peter, with its intense focus on visionary experiences and detailed descriptions of the afterlife, was seen as potentially challenging the church's preference for more symbolic and less direct interpretations of end times and the afterlife. Its exclusion reflects the early church's efforts to establish a unified doctrine and to distance itself from texts that could lead to theological confusion or controversy. The Wisdom of Solomon, also known as the Book of Wisdom, is a text that stands out for its blend of Jewish wisdom and Greek philosophical elements. Traditionally attributed to King Solomon, this book is a part of the wisdom literature and is known for its philosophical insights, teachings on justice, and the immortality of the soul. However, the authorship and historical context of the book raised questions among early Christian scholars. The text's advanced language and philosophical ideas indicate it likely originated in a later period, rather than during the time of Solomon. The significant doubt about who wrote the text and when it was written played a key role in its exclusion from the Bible. The early church was careful to include only texts that were clearly written by recognized and authoritative figures within their tradition. Additionally, the Wisdom of Solomon posed a challenge due to its philosophical foundation. The book blended Jewish religious themes with Greek philosophical concepts, which could be seen as confusing or misleading for the early Christian community. Despite its deep moral and ethical insights, its method of interpreting wisdom and righteousness, influenced by Greek thought, differed from the simpler, more straightforward teachings of Jesus and the apostles. The Shepherd of Hermos is a Christian literary work composed in Rome in the 2nd century. It's a unique blend of allegory, visions, and moral teachings, presented through a series of revelations given to Hermas, a former slave. This text was highly regarded in the early Christian community for its practical teachings on repentance, chastity, and Christian living. The Shepherd of Hermos is structured as 5 visions, 12 mandates, and 10 parables, offering guidance on living a virtuous Christian life. Despite its popularity and being regarded as scriptural by some early Christians, it was ultimately not included in the official collection of New Testament texts. One reason for its exclusion was its relatively late composition. When the official collection of New Testament texts was being established, the Church sought to include writings that originated from the apostles or were closely associated with them. The Shepherd of Hermos, being written later, did not meet this requirement. Another reason for the exclusion of the Shepherd of Hermos from the Bible was its theological content and emphasis. The book's focus on ongoing revelation through visions and direct communication from angels was seen as potentially problematic. It suggested a continuing open revelation that could challenge or even contradict the established teachings based on the apostles' writings. These books, while not included in the Bible, still hold a fascinating place in history and in discussions about faith and morals. Each one gives us a different perspective on ancient beliefs and teachings. Think about how these texts might shed new light on what we know about the past and our understanding of spirituality. What do these stories make you wonder about? As we wrap up this exploration, we invite you to ponder the mysteries and meanings these ancient writings might hold for you. Keep exploring and questioning, and join us next time as we dive into more topics like this.